So as you can see, we're not in the kitchen, but we'll be there soon. I take it on good advice that the best way to install the mirror locks is by taking the mirrors off the bike first. So we're gonna do that. Luckily, this is my KTM and it says 11 right there, which I think might be the size of the wrench I need to get that nut off. So we'll see. I have prepared myself with my handy dandy Moto Hansa 11 wrench. We'll see if that fits. That does not fit. KTM is a liar. Let's try the 12. Nope. So we go 13 or jump up to 14. 13 it is. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, but this seems to be a reverse thread. So that's gonna come off that way, I hope. Now, I got this bike used. I don't know if these are stock mirrors or not, but I can tell you one thing, they are way too narrow for my shoulders, and all I can ever see is my shoulders and elbows. So that's why we're going with the MirrorLoks. Mirrors in hand, we're gonna head inside to the kitchen and get the rest of this underway. Hello again, welcome back to Motorcycle Test Kitchen. Today we're gonna be looking at a multitasker farkle. If you don't know what a farkle is, that's a term that motorcycle riders use to describe all of the little bits and bolts and bobs and gewgaws that they attach to their motorcycle to customize them to a certain extent, but also to make them a little more creature comfort-y. So things like a GPS unit or a phone holder or a satellite tracking device or anything like that, we would call that a farkle. So the farkle we're looking at today is a multitasker. It does more than one thing. If there's anything that I despise, much like Alton Brown, the famous motorcycle riding science nerd, chef, cook guy, he and I both hate unitask devices. That's things that only do one thing. So what we're looking at now is the MirrorLok, which is the newest invention from Jesse. You probably know Jesse from Jesse Luggage. That was his gig for a long time. He sold that last year, 2017, to a guy called Sean Darvin, who's doing a great job running Jesse Luggage. And Al ostensibly went into retirement, except Al is one of those guys that never stops thinking and never stops moving, never stops doing, and he came up with this idea for MirrorLok. And that's what we're gonna look at. Now, you can put MirrorLoks on just about any motorcycle and they do three things. First, and probably most important for many riders, especially ones that are tall and wide across the shoulders, or wide across anywhere if you follow me, is they move the mirrors out to the sides a little farther. So they help you get a much better view of the things behind you when you're riding on the motorcycle. They take your shoulders and elbows much more out of the picture. The second thing they do is they quell vibration in the mirrors. Some motorcycles have great spread on the mirrors, but once you get up to about 50 miles an hour, they're useless because they're vibrating and shaking so much that you can't see if that car behind you is a policeman or a soccer mom. Nothing against soccer moms or policemen, but you'll want to know which one's behind you. The third thing that the MirrorLoks do is the lock part of MirrorLok, in that they allow you to lock your gear to your motorcycle and walk away knowing that your gear is safe and secure while you're in getting lunch, working, whatever it is you do when you ride your motorcycle somewhere, park it, and then you're not doing something else. So there's you can see there's several things here on the counter in front of me. First is the MirrorLok unit or package itself. This is made for BMWs, but I'm not going to be putting it on my BMW because actually I like the mirror position on those. They could definitely do with a little less vibration, but they're well suited. So I have a kit that will convert this set of MirrorLoks over to functioning on my KTM 990 Adventure, which has narrow bars and possibly the crappiest mirrors I have ever seen on a motorcycle. And I even believe that these might be aftermarket mirrors because of the cool little bendy thing. So I think maybe the person who owned the bike before me put these mirrors on. They're in kind of rough shape, and they work pretty good, except that I can only ever see my shoulders and elbows. Really, seriously, the positioning of these mirrors is practically unsafe at any speed. So the reason they're inside is because, as you will have heard already, the folks at Moto Manufacturing, that's Al Jesse's new company that makes the MirrorLoks, recommend that you take the mirrors off the bike first rather than trying to install the mirrors on the units when they're already on the motorcycle. So what we're going to do here is that part of the installation process, but first we have to change the cylinders because these mirrors won't fit in these cylinders, and that's what this little kit is for. So we're going to change the angles here a little bit and then get things going. Okay, now we're situated, we're ready to get to work. So we're going to clear our workspace out a little bit. We're going to set the mirrors over here. These are my close-in work glasses, so we're going to switch to those, and we're going to crack open this container and see what all is in there. So you can see the package. It's a nice compact package. These are pretty heavy units. You can feel them. There's some good weight to them. There's Moto Manufacturing, the logo. See more, less vibration, lock your stuff, MirrorLok, made in USA, patent pending. You can even recycle the packaging, which is great. There's a little bit of an illustration on the back. I've already cracked the tape, but I haven't gotten into this yet to see what all is involved. So let's pull it out and see what we got. There's the two units, nicely made. They're some good weight to them. There's a key here stapled to the foam. Well, that was a little harder to get off than I thought it should be. Let's see what's going on. That's just adhesive. A little piece of tape. Here's the key. There's something else in here. We got an installation instruction package, and then there's a second key, which is handy, and then these would be the bolts that I would use to install this on my BMW R1200 GS if that's where they were going. Since they're not, I'm going to set those aside because I've got the slightly longer bolts for and spacers for the KTM 990 Adventure. But before that happens, we have to take out the existing inserts for the mirrors because these mirrors will not fit on the ones that are for the BMW. So you can see these that goes on my mirrors just perfectly. So let's take a look, and just to verify, not that I don't trust Al, Jesse, and Chris from Moto Manufacturing, but let's see, that looks like a plug. Oh, that's a little gooey. So this is one of the cool things about the MirrorLok is that once you tighten the mirrors down onto this side, you can still adjust the mirrors, but you don't have to loosen them. They're in there by friction, so you can make them as tight or as loose as you want. So this is the unit that I've got to get out, and there's some O-rings in there, but let's just verify first that this isn't going to fit on there. What do you know? That fits right on there. So you know what? I'm not going to go to all the trouble to change those. Maybe it's because these are aftermarket, but you know what? I'm going to make sure they snug down because I don't want to have a problem later on. So now I did that without the instructions. Let's check out the instructions and see what's in there for us. Installation instructions. Step 1, remove your stock mirror. Well, we've already done that. Remove red cap below lower spacer. Remove a line. Caution note, make sure your switchgear can function. Adjust your mirror. Thank you for choosing MirrorLok. Good instructions. They include an address, website, and email address, so that you can contact them if you have any trouble. This is a nice looking one sheet, just photocopied. Step 2 has been taped over the old step 2. Remove top spacer and discard silicone plug. That's this thing here, which is a little greasy. Use the Allen wrench to hold damper while using open end wrench to torque mirror onto post. So let's get there's my handy dandy Moto Hansa toolkit that I love and carry with me on my BMW everywhere I go. So we need the 8mm. 8mm. And we're going to put that on the driver there. Now we know from taking them off we need a 13mm wrench. So we're going to get those torqued down as much as possible. Two-handed operation here. I feel that was tight enough to make my wrist pop, so I think that's probably good. And now you can see that you can move the mirror without having to loosen it up any nuts. So that's completely, and it's snug, that's definitely in there. So then to unlock it, this is how it works, right? You take the key goes in the spot, unlock it, the little popper pops out, and now you've got this loose, okay? So then, this is gonna go down through the top. This is the spacer that gets it up away from your controls, right? And then the lock itself closes into the top of the hex bolt. You push the button and your gear's locked. Now you're gonna need some kind of cable, of course, to accomplish that. To accomplish the locking of your gear. Moto Manufacturing sells the cables. They sell short for your helmet and long for your jacket. I've got a couple of those cables lying around, so I didn't buy one of those. Yeah, so let's see. Let me stick this back on there. And we'll do the other one and see if that's just as easy as the first one was. So first we're going to remove the silicone plug. gooey. So this one's gonna go on the left side, on the clutch side. I'm gonna get that started in there. Get this going here. Get this going here. No wrist pop that time, but it's just as good, just as snug. We gotta unlock that. You have to push in just a tiny little bit to pop the lock, not much. We're gonna just put that in there to secure it and then head outside to put that on. Now let's see, is that gonna be an 8mm? That is also an 8mm. So one tool, although I am gonna switch to, this is one of the cool things about the Moto Hansa toolkit, is it's got a little holder for the bits, and then you just put that on your ratchet driver and you can use it locked in place. You can extend it for extra oomph, or you can push that through and you've got a traditional ratchet. So let's head outside and finish up the installation. Okay. It is a beautiful day outside, early November. Unbelievable how nice the weather is. I'll throw that on the ground. So as you can see, without the spacer in place, this goes all the way down on top of your control cluster, and that would be bad for the electronics, bad for the wires, bad for the whole 9 yards. So I'm gonna get that started a little bit and then get on it with the ratchet. Now in the instructions, they tell you to aim the unit at the ball end of your lever. Doesn't feel like that's getting tight. I wonder why. There it goes. Okay, so we're gonna aim this at the ball end and snug it up. Now I probably should know the torque value for this, but I don't, so shame on me. And then that's where the little clip fits. You push in the plunger and you're done. We're gonna switch over to the other side here. And that one was a good bit rusty when it came off. So, yeah, a little tougher to get in. But it goes right on. It adds about 1.5 inches or 2 inches to the spread of your mirrors. Also raises them up a little bit. I'm gonna get that aimed at the ball end of the lever. Per the instructions, hold it nice and snugly in place. And get that tightened the rest of the way down. Test the function of the lock. Now that's on the outside there. So next thing I'm going to do, is climb up on the bike, which is very tall when it's on the center stand, and adjust those mirrors a little bit. Now, obviously in this location, all I can see is my house. But I can already tell that these are going to be way better positioned than the old spot, just because I can only just barely see my shoulders on the inside of the mirror when I've got it adjusted to see behind me. So that's already a good stop. Now I'm gonna get my gear on, go for a test ride. I don't have an action camera, so you won't see the test ride, but I'm gonna head out for a test ride and check these out, see what the vibration is like, and then see if I can dig up my cable. Otherwise, I'll just pop over to Home Depot and get another cable. So we'll see you in a bit. I'm back from my test ride after installing the MirrorLoks, and I also got to use the Touratech Aventuro 2.0 for the first time. Good initial impression. I'll need to wear it for a couple more months to be able to give you guys a full and thorough review, but initial impressions are really positive. I like the helmet. It's weird seeing the brow, sort of the beak out there in your field of vision, but that's just the way that goes. So this is what's left over after the installation of the MirrorLoks. While I'm talking, I'm going to be showing pictures of the installation, because obviously I can't get a motorcycle into my kitchen, although I guarantee you if I could, it would be here. So it comes with 2 keys, and they're both these little kind of barrel keys. That's really my only nitpick, is the hole on the keys is really small. So if you have a largish key ring that it goes on, then it doesn't really want to turn. But that's something you could easily fix with a small file or even a drill if you hit that in the right spot. So that's the entirety of the negatives that I have about the MirrorLok. All the positives are all the positives. It works exactly like Moto Manufacturing says it should. It was easy to install. It spreads the mirrors out and makes it so that I could see a lot more of the road behind me than my shoulders and arms. I got a couple of pictures that I'll post up here while I'm talking. It was easy, like I said, it was easy to install. I didn't even need the extra parts that they thought I would need, I guess because I've got that aftermarket mirror on there. Those aftermarket mirrors on the KTM that I wasn't aware would fit in the threaded inserts for BMW motorcycles. So this will go in the trash. This I'll put in my parts drawer. These things get recycled. It's pretty impressive minimum of trash for that kind of thing. So anyways, back to the 2 things. Works exactly as advertised, spreads those mirrors out. It does indeed cut vibration tremendously. It didn't get rid of all of the vibration, but it got rid of enough of it that I would call it, 80% reduced vibration. I could always see what was behind me and even be able to identify it. So, instead of just seeing headlights behind me, I could see that that's a pickup truck, or that's a delivery van, or that's just a, Mini Cooper or whatever they're called. So it was a incredibly useful reduction in vibration. I couldn't find my cables that I know I have. Who knows where they are. But so I went over to Home Depot to try to grab a couple new ones to show you how that works. I failed in that. They don't have those kinds of things. I'm thinking maybe a bicycle shop will have those things. I did kind of finagle my helmet onto one of the locks by running it through one of the D's on the D-ring closure. It was a little more difficult than you might imagine. So that's really not a great solution, but you could do it if you wanted to. Now, every helmet manufacturer in the world tells you not to put your helmet on the mirror. And I would say that kind of doubly goes for any mirror that's connected to the MirrorLok, because the MirrorLok gives you that extra space off the handlebar. A lot of times when you put your helmet on the mirror, the helmet will rest on the handlebar. Well, with the MirrorLok in place, it's not going to rest on the handlebar. So if somebody, knocks your helmet or your bike falls over, it could damage the interior protective foam of your helmet and reduce the helmet's effectiveness in case of a crash. So if you use MirrorLoks, you should probably definitely not put your helmet on the mirrors. At any rate, you know, congratulations to Moto Manufacturing. They came up with a fantastic product. Jesse is every bit as smart as you probably think he is, and if you didn't know who he was before, keep an eye out for him. He's technically retired, but he's still working, so he's not retired. He's only retired from Jesse Luggage, and they're still going strong. So yeah, so that's it for the MirrorLok. I appreciate you coming back. I hope you take the time to subscribe and hit the little bell and check out some of our other videos when they come out. And I want to, you know, encourage you to check out the MOA's YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that in the description. I'll put a link, of course, to Moto Manufacturing in the description. And, you know, anytime you see me out there, you can stop me when I'm on the KTM and say, hey, let me check out your MirrorLoks. So I'll see you out there somewhere on the road or off it. Ride safe.